Parshas Toldos, we have the Malchus, we have Esav and Yaakov being born, and Vayisroitzetsu is the first description of their relationship to each other, and it has been that way ever since. The Drosha Saran over here explains something about this mutual conflict. It's built around the Gemara in Megillah when it says Amala Hareva, that when this one is full, when Yerushalayim is built, Romi is not, and vice versa. One or the other is Harav, one or the other is built. They are mutually exclusive. And that's the way the Gemara describes it. And explains over here that they are essentially not compatible. They're essentially opposite. And when you have one, you don't have the other. If we can give an example, we can have light and darkness. As far as we know, it's either or. Where there's light, there's no darkness. Where there's darkness, there's no light. We don't have the ability to, we don't have that type of light and darkness. For us, they're mutually exclusive. It's either one or the other. So he explains over here why it is that you have that. He goes through different parashas. It says later on, these are the Malachim Asher Molch Be'eretz Edom Lifnei Meloch Melech LiYisrael, that there were the kings there before this, before there was kings in Israel. Once the kings in Israel, there were no kings there. The point is, it's either or. So other nations don't like us. Other nations may be belligerent. They may they may attack us. They may want to destroy us, but they don't have that type of standing of either or. So so I want to explain the point that Rosh Hashanah is making a little bit and amplify it a bit. We have Malchus, Klal Yisrael is gracious, is Bishvil Yisrael, which means that existence is Klal Yisrael. Klal Yisrael is something that its essence is what Hashem wants, therefore is existence. So if we're to ask, the core of Klal Yisrael is that exists. The Bria means to give existence to, and that's Klal Yisrael. Edom is called to home. It's in the psukim of the various let's call them anti forces. It says va'aretz ha'isas soyu v'avo v'choshel me'tahom. Chazal darshan tahom as Malchus Edom. Tahom means an endless abyss. An endless abyss is a description of nothingness. So the somethingness and nothingness are mutually exclusive. That's the words. Let's try to understand a little bit what that means, why that is, what it is. We have we have people who want destruction. That they are people who don't want anything to be. They're nihilists of sorts, and express themselves in many ways. They're people who believe there's no tachlis to life, no point to it, and people who don't believe in chesed because, I don't care if it doesn't exist. A normal person has some element of yeshus, meaning he would like things to be, would like things to exist. His heart, his thrills at life and at existence and so on. He may have a particular enemy, or he may be jealous, but his heart thrills at life and existence. And there's some people that they're just nihilists. They just want nothing to be. That's, we can call them a psychopath, but it's destruction is something that makes them it makes them be that's what they're about. It's hard for us to imagine it. It's hard for us to understand it, but there's that type of just hatred and wanting destruction and reveling in seeing things destroyed, put to waste, and so on. That's the essential force of Esav. Esav said, "Hina neicher alech lamos, lamos abchayra." Hina lamos means that nothing is worth anything. Everything falls apart, everything dies, and everything's over. There is nothing worth having because nothing ever really exists. They see the world as being a place of antimatter. The world is a place where everything will disintegrate, peter out, and be gone. That's how Esav gets the world, and that's what he's about. So Klal Yisrael and Edom are very different than other forces. That the other three Malchias also wanted something, but they were they conflicted with Klal Yisrael. They weren't loggerheads, and therefore you could have their Malchus and our Malchus coexist. Esav and Klal Yisrael is mutually exclusive, and therefore it's either or. When Klal Yisrael does good, Esav disappears. Almost, I would say, by essentially, if we see a world that's good and beautiful and thrives and is tov, then Ra is Malach Ra answers Bal Karchach. Yes, there is good, there's kind, and so on. If Klal Yisrael is not doing what they're supposed to do, and Klal Yisrael themselves are Ra, then Esav says, I see, I told you, the world is a bad place, people are inherently bad, and so on. That's the type of attitude that Esav fosters. The Ran adds one more point in his drasha. He writes that Edom is really identified with Malchus Romi, which morphed into Christianity. That's the way he explains it. The morphing into Christianity. So when we speak of Malchus Edom, we speak about Rome, and Rome was an empire that wanted to swallow up everything in the world, and then the Roman Empire then converted to Christianity and became, to this day, the seat of the church. The reason, so at least understanding a little bit of the church's attitude, so long as Klal Yisrael exists, they their own position, their own existence is threatened theologically. Their point is that we were had-beens. HaKadosh Baruch Hu got rid of us and brought them in instead. If we're not gotten rid of, then where are we? Then where are they? It's interesting. Islam says that it's not true. They were always the chosen people, and they are the chosen people. Christianity says we were the chosen people, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu wiped the slate clean, which creates a theological problem. The way they solved it is that by us being downtrodden, depressed, repressed, crushed and broken, we're kept around as living testimony to the people who did not accept the truth. So they needed us in a state of non-existence. Sort of, we need to be a museum piece of non-existence to help prove their point. That's the way they see it. So, they themselves project that Memshelas Edom, which is what it morphed into, is there only because Yerushalayim doesn't exist. And if Yerushalayim exists, it really creates a problem. So this mutual exclusion of Malchus is very powerful for that reason. So let's sum up. So the Ran explains at length the mutual conflict between Esav and Malchus Esav and Yaakov. The conflict is a conflict of existence versus non-existence. Yaakov is the embodiment of being, existing, positiveness. Esav embodied negativity, nihilism, non-existence. It's either or. Things that exist when there's light, there's no darkness. And if it's dark, it means because there's no, when I turn the light off, it's dark now. That's, in essence, their mutual conflict. It expressed itself in a religious sense when Esav morphed into Rome, into the Christian church in Rome, where their existence is posited on Klal Yisrael's non-existence. And it makes very, very uncomfortable. If we exist, they don't exist. I mean, that Baruch not discard us. And that's why they sort of reached a kind of understanding that we have to be, it's okay, quote unquote, if we exist in a very repressed form. And they did their best to support the theology. And one must admit they did not spare much effort to do that. But tachlis, it's either or. If we exist, and therefore we don't need to go and disprove, discredit. We need to exist. If we thrive in a Tordic way, in a positive way, then we are who we are, and the forces of Tahaim, of non-existence, are just not there.